Martini glass, martini glass, martini glass. You're probably wondering why I'm saying that. Well, I thought it was important to give you an example of how rare Alexandrite is before we talk about how to buy it. So a martini glass is a great analogy to just give you a comparison between Alexandrite and diamonds. Think about this, the martini glass, that amazing liquid that you're drinking inside of the martini, well, that would be diamonds when you think about the availability of them. Now, when we compare that to Alexandrite, Alexandrite would be the olives. So that is my little comparison to give you an example of how rare Alexandrite is compared to diamonds. Now, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you how to apply these 4 important points that you need to know before you shop for Alexandrite as well. Now, let's talk about point number 1, color change. Color change is extremely important. When you buy a diamond because of its sparkle, its brilliance, its fire, its scintillation. When you're shopping though for Alexandrite, you're putting your money into the color change of that gemstone. That is where a lot of the value and a lot of the rarity is held. You know, if a diamond was dull and it didn't have any brilliance or sparkle, not many people would want it. With Alexandrite, that is in the color change. The more instantaneous the color change, meaning when you're going from normal white light to incandescent lighting, when you're going from inside into like a dining room type setting, the sooner the color change of that gemstone happens, that also increases rarity towards it. Now, secondary to that is how full the color change is. Not all Alexandrite will fully change color. Some will partially change as well. If there's a partial color change, that will drop down the value of that gemstone and the rarity of that gemstone as well. It still would be Alexandrite, it just would be a little bit less rare. So think about those things. When you are shopping for Alexandrite, you need to see your Alexandrite's color change. The highest quality Alexandrite will change color from like an electric emerald green through to cabernet red in incandescent lighting as well. But make sure, once again, that you see your Alexandrite change color. That is a huge part to do with the value and also the beauty of your Alexandrite. Now, that is point number 1. So point number 2 is carat weight. Now, when you're comparing Alexandrite to other gemstones that you might have shopped for in the past, emerald, ruby, sapphires, tanzanite, you can find these gemstones quite commonly available in most jewelry stores in the 1 carat, 2 carat, 3, 4, 5, 6, even in some cases 10 carat range as well. But with Alexandrite, there's a big difference. You're most commonly going to find high quality Alexandrite under the 1/2 carat mark. That's what's more available. Going to a 1/2 carat would be considered large. Going up to 1 carat or even up to 2 carats would be considered a huge piece of Alexandrite. So keep this in mind for when you are shopping for Alexandrite, that the size of the gemstone might not be as big as what you are shopping for if you're used to wearing an emerald, ruby, or sapphire. Now, to give you an example of value though as well, now of course this is only an example because the color change, and that's the step before what we're talking about now, will also determine highly how much you would be paying per carat. But industry averages at the moment, when you're looking at 1 carat of Alexandrite that has a high quality color change, you're looking at around the $25,000 to even $30,000 for 1 carat. When you're looking closer to the 1/2 carat mark, $7,500 going through to around $8,000 as well. Now, of course, if you're going above the 1 carat mark though too, this is where the price can considerably even jump per carat as well. A high quality color change when you're looking at 2 carats can go even up to $35,000 to $40,000 per carat. And if you're lucky enough to even see a piece of high quality Alexandrite above 2 carats, well, you can expect that to go up to $45,000, even $50,000 a carat as well when we're talking about a high quality color change. So that's another huge determiner when it comes down to the price that you might be expecting to pay when we look down to carat weight. Now let's move on to the next point, which is then going to be point number 3. Now, I thought before adding in point number 3, which is color of your Alexandrite, that I should add in a few more points surrounding carat weight though as well. Do not expect to be able to find 5 or even 6 pieces to compare when we're talking about Alexandrite in the 1 carat or even the 2 carat range as well. So, it's more so you're buying Alexandrite because of the gemstone itself, but don't expect to have many to compare with. Also, do keep that in mind when you are shopping for your Alexandrite, that you're most likely going to find a 1/2 carat to a 1 carat look. Now that means most pieces containing Alexandrite will have a considerable amount of diamonds surrounding your Alexandrite as well to make this a more complete look as well. Now, okay, let's move on to point number 3, which is color. So Alexandrite of different qualities can also exhibit a different color. Now the highest quality that we're talking about when it comes into Alexandrite is definitely going to be the electric emerald green through to an incandescent lighting, where the gemstone would then turn into a rich cabernet red. So that instantaneous color change and the color change between these two is what's considered to be the most high value. Now you will still find other Alexandrite that does not start with that same color. You can find some pieces of Alexandrite that will be a little bit more brown in color compared to green as in its starting color as well. Now this will bring the price down per carat as well. So if you are looking to get into a piece of Alexandrite, but you're not really having within your budget the electric emerald green to the cabernet red, then this might be your starting piece to be able to look within, is going to a piece that's a little bit more brown in color, but still has the Alexandrite color change. Now do keep this in mind as well. All Alexandrite should come with a certificate, because other gemstones can have the Alexandrite effect. Now this could be a garnet, this can also even be a sapphire that does naturally change color, which meaning its color change is actually termed as the Alexandrite effect. So keep this always in mind. Ask for a certificate if you are shopping for Alexandrite, because the certificate should be coming from an independent gem laboratory showing that this is natural Alexandrite and not another gemstone that store is selling as something else. Now that is point number 3. Point number 4 is clarity. Now Alexandrite can quite easily be compared to the clarity that you would see within rubies. So Alexandrite quite commonly is not a heavily included gemstone. So you should not see inclusions through it like you would see with emeralds instead. Now if you do want to know how to buy emeralds as well, I've actually recorded a guide on that as well. The link for that is up in the corner of the screen at the moment, so make sure to click on that card if you want to know more about the emerald buying process too. But comparing it through to rubies, you are going to see some inclusions within Alexandrite though as well, but most commonly an Alexandrite should be quite a clear gemstone. Now if we're talking inclusion-less, we're talking nearly like flawless Alexandrite, you are talking about a very, very high price point again. So do keep this in mind when you are shopping for your Alexandrite as well, because if the color change is instantaneous too, then you're not really going to notice many, if any, of these inclusions visible in your Alexandrite anyway. Also keeping in mind that most Alexandrite is not going to be cut into a cushion or is not going to be in an emerald cut as well. So the inclusions quite commonly with most Alexandrite pieces will be quite hidden. So make sure to keep this in mind when you are shopping for your Alexandrite. If you're wanting to put more of your money into the color change of the Alexandrite, or if you're wanting to put more of your money into the clarity of that Alexandrite as well. Because one versus the other, well, both are going to highly affect the price point, but one you can quite easily visibly see, which is the color change, and one you can't quite easily see, which is the clarity. And that's always one of my recommendations. Put your money where you actually see a visible difference in what it is you're shopping for. And with Alexandrite, that means putting your money into the color change more so than putting your money into the clarity. Now that I've covered all 4 of these points, let's wrap this all up together and I'll explain to you how to really apply this into the Alexandrite buying process. Well, to start with, think about what you want your new piece of jewelry to actually do. You know, if you're looking for what we would call a statement piece, a piece that people would look at and be like, wow, like that is amazing, that is beautiful, Alexandrite is definitely not it. Most people will have no idea what Alexandrite is, and because quite commonly the size of Alexandrite in most pieces are not so attention grabbing. So this is a piece that you can quite comfortably wear without any worry about a person actually even knowing what it is. So this is a piece that people would know if they know. You know, as we could say, it's a piece you can comfortably wear without any care or concern. Also because the gemstone, or Alexandrite itself, is quite a hard gemstone too, so it is suitable for everyday wear, but most people are not going to know what it is. Everyday wear, not a statement piece whatsoever. Now, also going into color. With color, think about why you're even shopping for this gemstone. This should be the number one thing you put your money into when you are shopping for a piece of Alexandrite, is putting your money into a piece that has a high quality color change first. Because if that piece of Alexandrite has a 30% color change or even a smaller percentage as well then it doesn't really tell the tale of what Alexandrite does. So that would be another point to keep in mind as well. Don't sacrifice color change for a larger piece. When it comes down to size, I would even honestly say start small. Start small and work with a jewelry store that allows you to be able to trade that piece back in over time. So over time, you know, you can put a little bit more money into buying that larger piece of Alexandrite as well that still has that consistent high quality color change. Then when it comes down to clarity, clarity highly does affect the price of your Alexandrite, but in most cases, because of how Alexandrite is quite commonly cut, you will not really see any of the imperfections or inclusions in a piece of Alexandrite jewelry. So instead of placing more money into getting a cleaner stone, I would place more of that money into a gemstone that has a higher quality color change. Now, keep this in mind though as well. Alexandrite is not abundantly available like you would find with emeralds, rubies, or sapphires, so don't expect to find a whole showcase of Alexandrite to be able to pick from. This is a gemstone that truly requires a lot of shopping around. Now, when it does come into availability of this gemstone though as well, as far as my knowledge goes, there is only one designer jewelry brand that actually has created multiple collections when it does come down to Alexandrite as well. So if you want to remove all of that guesswork as well, this video is not sponsored by them whatsoever, but the brand name is Mark Henry Alexandrite. So that's a great tip. If you're wanting to look into a brand that actually designs all around Alexandrite, I would recommend highly to check out that brand. That is Mark Henry Alexandrite. Now, of course, let's move on to my question of the day for you. Do you own a piece of Alexandrite? If you do own a piece of Alexandrite, where did you buy it from? Did you buy it online or did you find it in a jewelry store? Scroll on down into the comments and let me know. As well, down at the bottom so you can see already how to, but also quite a different guide. Applying it